that Jesus told to illustrate a specific point that he was trying to convey because he was that cool, right? Yeah. So to understand where we're coming from here, we got to go back to Luke 15, verse 1. Luke 15, verse 1. And it says this: the tax collectors and other notorious sinners often came to listen to Jesus teach. This made the Pharisees and teachers of religious law complain that he was associating with such sinful people. So Jesus is doing his Jesus thing. He's associating with people that are lost, people that are in need, people that are in need of him. And these Pharisees, they have something to say about it.
Yes, sir.
Right? I don't know if you know about the Pharisees, but the Pharisees, they're like this self-righteous type of people where they put God's law and their own little spin on it to try to make themselves look a little bit more righteous, look like they're a little bit good or a little bit better. So Jesus, he began to tell them, he was trying to make a strong point because he told 3 parables back to back. Right? First parable he told us with the lost sheep. The second one was the lost coin. And finally, in Luke 15, verse 11, which we just read, he told the parable of the lost son. So I want you to understand the context, and when I go a little bit deeper, you understand where I'm coming from. So his issue was with the Pharisees. He said the lost sheep. In that parable, he said, hey, imagine there was a man, he had 100 sheep. And one of them was lost. He would leave the 99 and go after the one. Yeah. When he finds the one, he'll tell his friends. They'll celebrate that.
Let's celebrate that.
Over sheep.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what he said.
He said there's someone they had 10 coins. They lost one. If the woman lost a coin, she would light a lamp. She would sweep the house clean, trying to find the coin. You ever lost some money?
Yeah.
You lose some money, you're going to be looking under stuff. You're going to be moving stuff that can't move.
And you keep looking.
You're like, how do you lift the house? Right? So he said, she'll sweep the house clean, and then when she finds it, she'll go tell her friends, and they're going to have a party. They can celebrate it. So then we find ourselves in this set of scripture here. We're talking about the lost son, and we read through the story, and he said, okay, the son was lost. He came back, and the oldest son was upset about it. So it's just funny how we can celebrate over some things like the sheep. We can celebrate over a coin. But Jesus' point was, why is it that when someone who's lost, who's a sinner, give their life to me and they come back to me, we don't celebrate?
Why can't we celebrate that?
So I want you to understand the context of this before I get into the meat of what I'm going to share with you all today. So we read in this story, and there was a father, the younger son and the older son. The father in this story is representative of God.
Yes.
The younger son is representative of somebody who's lost, and of course the older son is representative of
people that have been in the church for a long time.
Right?
Yeah.
So as I'm going through this, I want you to try to figure out, who are you? A lot of times we try to place ourselves as the lost son. God, I'm coming back to you. That's cool. But not all the time are we the lost son. Sometimes we might be the Pharisee. Sometimes we might be that person that's just not accepting of someone else that's trying to come into the house of God because of their struggle, their situation, or whatever it might be. Right? So I want us to try to figure out who we are and where we see ourselves in this story. So I want to illustrate this. We're using 4 points, right? Quick points, real quick points. The first one is rebellion. The second point is repentance. The third point is reception and recognition. Rebellion, repentance, reception, and recognition. Let's get started with the first point. Rebellion. That's found in Luke 15, 11 through 16. It's found in a set of scriptures. So here we are. We have the younger son. He was a bold dude. Like, he was really interesting because he was bold enough to go to his father while he's still alive and say, hey, can I get what you owe me? Right? I know you ain't dead yet. I know you're still alive and all, but I really want it.
That's pretty bold.
I really need it. Like, that's real bold.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if y'all understand. Like, that's like my daughter. Those are my 2 daughters right there. That's like she come to me and say, Dad, I want you to die so I can have everything that you have. Now she said that, I can't say that I might not, I ain't gonna say it, but y'all know what I'm thinking. Right? So I can't say that ain't gonna happen. But the cool thing is about this culture, in this Jewish culture, the oldest son will always get a double portion of what belonged to the father. Yep. So in this situation, the oldest son, he would get 2/3 of what the father had. And the youngest son would get 1/3. So the youngest son, he was so impatient that he was not satisfied with what God had provided him. I don't know if you guys ever been in that position where God has given you something.
Go ahead,
you
sir.
know that the only reason you're able to have, the only reason that you're able to sustain, the only reason that you're able to has given you. And then in that very selfish, self-absorbed moment, we got the audacity, the unmitigated gall to say, God, I ain't satisfied.
Yeah.
God, I'm not satisfied with everything that you've given me.
We have the nerve to do
The
that.
nerve to complain, the nerve to want to step out and do what we want to do.
I hear you, sir.
So I want to paint the picture of this lost son, because not only he's a bold dude, he's a very self-absorbed dude.
Yes, he is.
He don't really care nothing about his dad's feelings. He don't care nothing about what his dad got going on. The thing of the matter is, his dad still got to live.
Yeah.
So he says, Dad, give me what I feel like you owe me, and I don't really care about what happens with you.
That's what he's
And it
saying.
sounds real harsh, but the reality is we do that to God often. God, I don't care
That's
about what you've
powerful.
been building in my life over this last year, over this last season. I want more. So we try to escape where we are to grab hold of more, but maybe more is not for us right now.
More is not right now.
So the son, he's being real bold. He finds himself in this position where he wants more. He's really self-absorbed. I can only imagine how hard it is for the son, because I've been in that position. I'm not gonna lie, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you sitting real good,
Mm-hmm.
it was like two mm-hms. Everybody else lying. Nobody else.
Ain't nobody, no.
Everybody else had to agree that same was a little bit fun.
See what
It's
I'm
okay.
saying?
I thought we was in church on
I
Sunday
thought we were in
morning.
a
I'm gonna be honest, it's okay.
Yeah.
So you ever been in a position where you sitting real good, you just want what you want, you just want to get it, whatever getting it means for you, you just getting it, right? So the son, he's in this position where he just wants to get and do. And I can only imagine how hard it was being able to see all that his father had and to know a part of that belonged to him. A part of that was for him. So when you're walking down his little fields, I'm like, man, Dad just sold like 500 goats to that dude. Man,
Yeah.
third of that is mine.
Yeah.
Right? So sometimes when we see and we know that there is more for us, it's harder for us to be patient in the moment. Yeah. It's harder for us to really grab
That's a
hold
good
of what
word.
the moment has for us and the season that God has us in, and we try to reach out for more.
That's
we
good
try
stuff.
To grab hold of more. And unfortunately, that can end up taking us outside of God's will.
Oh my God, yeah.
I don't know about you all, but I don't want to be outside of God's will.
No.
I don't want to have anything that the Lord doesn't want to have for me.
That's right.
I don't want to have anything that's not for me.
Right.
In the moment where we try to grab hold of what's not for us, we can end up separating ourselves from the Lord. And that's what we find in this set of scriptures.
Yes.
So the young man, his desires led him. So his dad, as gracious as he is, as humble and understanding as he is, he divides everything that he had and he gives it to his son. It's like, do you. That's yours. Do what you got to do, right?
Wow.
So his son, a couple of days later, or a little while later, he grabs all that he has and he goes and he flees. He leaves for a faraway country, the Bible says. So the son's desire ended up leading him away from God. It ended up leading him away from the Father. And oftentimes, the illegitimate desires that we have can lead us away from God. When we run towards sin, when we run towards the things that attract us that aren't lining up with God, it causes that separation, that gap between us and God. Culturally, where Jews resided, it was considered the Holy Land. And for a person to even leave that land was considered like that was an issue.
Yeah.
So you want to leave what's holy and what's right and what God's ordained to go like with the pagans, with the people that don't know God, with the people that don't really understand your upbringing, what you come from, and you want to go hang with them? And oftentimes that's what we do. We leave the things that God has set up and established for us to go do something else that's the last thing. But in the moment, we feel like it's what we need. We feel like
That's
it's
a
what
good
we have
word.
to have. So we talk about how sin separates us from God. I'm reminded of the story of Adam and Eve. You know, they were an interesting bunch. They were real cool. So in the garden, God said, hey, look, you can have access to everything here, except this one thing. Do not eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Right? So they're like, cool. You know, they chill and Eve doing her little thing, whatever. The devil, he come up, Satan comes up, and he sweets her, right? She gives to Adam, because Adam was sitting there just looking crazy probably, and they eat of the tree, right? And they find themselves separated. And humanity has been separated from God ever since. It's just interesting how we keep trying to find ways to separate us from God, to separate us from the love of the Father, when all He wants to do is
Oh
draw
my
us
God.
closer.
Oh my God.
I mean, I'm going to go ahead and call it our sinful nature.
Yeah.
But it's just something interesting about how we continue to try to detach from everything that God tries to establish.
Everything He gives us.
Yes, you do.
You
So
preaching,
it's our
sir.
sinful nature.
Yes.
So from that moment on, we were separated. And there's some of us right now that have been separated, or we waste time on things that are not what God wants for us in this season.
Right.
But we want it so bad that we say it's for us. We want it so bad that we convince ourselves that it's okay.
Wow.
But in the season that we're in, and where God wants us to be, it's not. Because God is establishing, He's creating, He's forming and shifting, He's maneuvering all of us.
Yes, He is. Wow.
So our task is to stay within His will. But we see in the story that ain't happened with the young son. He stepped outside of God's will. Verse 14 through 16. Still on the first point. Rebellion. He's rebelling against God. When he spent all that he had, a famine hit, and he was in want. Separation from God will always leave us empty. Whatever we're trying to fulfill within ourselves, if we try to do that apart from God, will never be fulfilled. It'll leave us empty. And we'll spend and we'll waste every gift, every talent, every ability that the Lord has so graciously given that belongs to us.
Yes.
We'll waste it because we're trying to find whatever this more is for us.
Apart from
Because whatever I don't know what it is, it's just something about us that just
I
wants
don't know what it
more.
is.
We want more and more and more. We're unsatisfied. But we'll find ourselves wasting what the Lord has given us.
Yes.
The gifts that He's given us. The resources that He's given us. And it'll be squandered. That's the word, right?
Yeah, it is.
I guess
They would have told you if it wasn't.
They would have told you?
They would have told you.
Okay, I appreciate that. I forgot we got some Scrabble fans up in here. It's not a word. Right? So they would have squandered what the Lord had for them. So verse 15 talks about how he joined himself to the citizen of that country. The citizen had him go into the field and tend to the swine. So it's important to note, culturally, right, because we're keeping it in context, we're keeping it in perspective. Culturally, Jews don't associate with anything unclean.
Yeah.
Right? Swine, pigs, is considered unclean. It's repulsive. So for him to leave what God has established, leave that, be associated with a people group that's not a part of the people group he's called to, but also invest and be a part of the thing that you think is disgusting.
Yes.
Like, that's an issue, right? So he found himself being in the midst of these swine. So what happened when he said he joined himself to a citizen? He pretty much sold himself into slavery in order to be able to sustain himself. But what he sold himself to still wasn't able to sustain him.
Wow.
What he gave himself to was not able to sustain him. So how many of you know that that we easily become a slave to whatever we give ourselves to?
Yep.
Whatever or whoever we give ourselves to.
What?
It's easy to become a slave to it.
Yes.
So that can be people, that can be jobs, it can be money, it can be relationships, it can be drugs, whatever it is, we join ourselves to it, but it's not a part of who we are, and we try to make it so.
Yes.
1 Peter says this, 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 16. It says, act as free men, and do not use your freedom as a covering for evil,
Act as free men.
but use it as bond slaves
Well, sir.
of God.
Wow.
So if I'm going to be a slave to anything, I'm going to be a slave to God.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, if I'm going to be in this joint eating what the pigs eat and tending to the pigs and being uncomfortable in life, I'd much rather do it knowing that I'm glorifying and bringing honor to God the Father.
Yes.
Because then it gives my suffering purpose. And a lot of times we're out of position and we wonder why we're suffering, but the Lord says your suffering is not ordained by me. So we position ourselves in a way outside of God's will and we wonder why our life is how it is.
Yes.
Because